Tierrasanta is a pretty cool place to live. I mean, there's lots of things to do here. It's funny though, when you grew up here, it's hard to imagine that this used to be a place where the Marines taught guys how to drive tanks and fire guns. No, really. During World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, Tierrasanta was called Camp Elliot. Soldiers who had to learn how to drive a tank, or fire a rifle, or a mortar, or even a big tank cannon would be sent here to learn. Over 50,000 soldiers were trained in 1 year alone. Every day they would get up and put on their uniforms and come out here to learn how to shoot different kinds of guns. Soldiers don't train here anymore, so it's hard to imagine, but it really was like that.
As a matter of fact, Camp Elliot was very large, almost as far as the eye can see. It took up all the land from Miramar Naval Air Station to Tierrasanta, to Mission Trails Regional Park in Fortuna Mountain, to San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. When the Korean War ended, the Marines moved their base up to Camp Pendleton. Much of the land was sold, and the remainder was deeded.
That's when the houses and the schools and the shopping centers and stuff were built. Can you believe that this shopping center actually used to be a rifle range? And this canyon where we play after school and grown-ups jog after work could have been where tank gunners practiced firing their cannons. The scary part is that not all of the shells that the soldiers fired exploded. Lots of them just hit and stuck deep in the ground.
After the military left in 1968, the government did sweeps of some of the hills and the canyons to try and find the shells that never exploded, but not all of them were found. Occasionally, the rain washes away the soil and uncovers shells buried deep in the ground. If you discover one of these old shells and you don't know the right thing to do, you could get hurt.
2 young children were killed today and another seriously injured when a World War II bomb exploded in the community of Tierrasanta. The children found the ordnance only a few yards from their home. Apparently, they picked it up to play with. The results were tragic.
The 2 boys who were killed and the third who was injured were only a few feet from the sidewalk. They weren't out in the canyons.
Maybe those kids wouldn't have gotten hurt if they had known what to do when they found the shell. The thing is, they probably didn't know what they had found. That's why we've got to play it safe. These kids were playing in one of the canyons after school when one of them saw something strange lying under a bush.
Hold on! Come on! Hey! Check this out! It looks like some sort of cannon shell or something. Cool! Let's go get a shovel and dig it out. Okay.
These kids aren't doing what they're supposed to.
The thing to do if you found something that might be a shell is don't touch it. It won't go off if you leave it alone. Even if you aren't sure whether or not it's a shell, play it safe. Don't touch it. The next thing to do is to hang something on the bush so that you can find it again. Take off your jacket or your cap or something and set it down near what you have found, but never put it on the shell. This way, grown-ups will be able to find it again when you bring them back. But remember, don't touch it. After you mark the area with something, the next step is to go get help. Tell your mom or your dad or your babysitter or a neighbor or somebody. They can call 911 and get a fireman to come out and find out what it is. If there's no adults around that you can talk to, call 911 and tell them where you live and that you think you might have found a shell.
This ought to do the job. Hey, I wonder if this thing's still alive.
No way, look how old it is. A shell can't go off when it's been sitting in the ground for a long time.
Is this boy right about a shell? Of course not. No matter how old a shell or bomb might look, it could still explode.
Okay, you hold back the branch and I'll dig it out.
Hey, I wonder where this thing came from.
Who knows?
Do you know where this shell came from? Right. It was left over from the days when Tierrasanta was part of a military base. Probably the reason nobody found it before is because it was buried deep in the ground. Over the years, the rain washed away the soil and exposed the shell.
Hey, what are you guys doing? We're digging up this old bomb we found in the ground. Are you crazy? You could blow yourself to smithereens playing with one of those things.
No way, look how old it is. It isn't live anymore.
How do you know? Don't touch it. We gotta call the fire department out here and let them take a look at it. Hang your hat on this bush so we can find it again when the firemen come. Come on, we gotta go call 911.
Hey, we can use my phone at my house.
Great.
Hi, my name is Russ Heineman, and I'm an explosive device technician for the City of San Diego Fire Department. I am here today to share the 3 rules with you adults and children that I've shared throughout the school system in the Tierrasanta area. The 3 rules are, number 1, don't touch it. Number 2 is to mark the spot to where you can find it later. And number 3 is to tell an adult and call 911, and I will be the gentleman or one of my partners will come out and we will remove the ordnance and shells that you folks have found. I'd like to remind you that it does not have to be shiny to explode. I'd like to remind the parents that you folks are not the experts. Please give me a call at 911 and allow me to come out and remove the ordnance and shells that you've found. This is a 75 millimeter that we've found a lot of in the Tierrasanta area. We've also found some of the 105 recordless rifle shots. I'd like to remind you folks that we only find this portion of these particular shells. There's been several sweeps made in the Tierrasanta area to remove found ordnance and shells. They're still there, and they surface periodically due to erosion. So play it safe. Remember the 3 safety rules. Don't touch it, mark the spot, and call me at 911.
These boys were lucky that their friend knew the right thing to do. They might have been badly hurt if the shell exploded while they were trying to dig it up. Wait at your house for the firemen so you can lead them back to the spot where the shell is. These kids learned how to play it safe, and it just might have saved their lives.
Tierrasanta is a neat place to live. There's lots of things to do here, lots of canyons to play in, but it's up to us kids to remember that once, a long time ago, these same hills were used by the soldiers to practice firing guns. Even if they cleaned up every single shell today, the rains and the erosion of the soil means that new shells might be found. Remember the 3 rules. When you learn what to look for and what to do if you find something, then you know how to play it safe.